Morning, students. We're here today again, a Tuesday morning, for our tutorials. For our tutorial to 120, PED 120, and PED 120. Fine, check this. PED 120 is principles of family living. Principles of family living. How are you, Esther? Good morning, class. Reduce it. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, ma'am. In.
Our topic for
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Esther. How are you today? Good.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Well done, ma'am.
Thank you. While we're waiting for other members of the class to join us, our topic for today is family health issues. Family health issues. There are a lot of issues in the family, but today we are going to dwell on first aid in the home. Remember, I am your facilitator, Dr. Angela Abba. It's good to see you once again. First aid in homes. First aid in homes. That is our topic today. We are going to be looking at what first aid is. We are going to explain what first aid is, and then how we give first aid at home, and the kind of occurrences that will require first aid. But particularly, we're expecting that by the end of this lesson, our students should be able to explain what first aid is all about, and they'll be also able to describe how to give first aid to some common accidents in the home, some common occurrences at home. Nobody actually plans for accidents, but these things sometimes are inevitable at homes, in the houses. So we have to look at them and get our minds prepared about them so that in case there's any emergency, we'll be at hand to attend to it. Particularly the homemakers, we need this skill to be able to attend to some common accidents at home. I'd like to share my screen. We want to look at what first aid is all about. Now, first aid is said to be immediate care or help given to a person who has sustained injury from any form of accident at home, or any person that took ill or got involved in an emergency and needs assistance. That is first aid. First aid is an immediate care or help given to any person who sustained injury from any accident, any form of accident at home, or who is ill, who suddenly took ill or got involved in an emergency that needs an assistance. That person needs an assistance. It is a care that can be given before you look for a doctor. Good. This first aid requires self-help and home care. Requires self-help and home care. If medical assistance is not available or is delayed, medical assistance is not available or is delayed. I hope you got that. Then we have forms of first aid. Forms of first aid. What form does first aid take? What is it like? It can come in form of a well-selected words of encouragement. Well-selected words of encouragement. Hey, sorry, child, why? Sorry, my dear. And you give an assistance to that person. You give a helping hand to that person. Oh, let me see. Sorry. Don't worry, it will be okay. You know, these ones are well-selected forms of first aid. First aid can also be an evidence of willingness to help. Oh, you have your food. Oh, let me bring, sorry, I'm coming. You are willing to help. Let me see. Let me get something to help you. You get a rubber, maybe tie on the leg immediately to at least stop the bleeding. You are showing evidence of or willingness to help. It's a form of first aid. Then it's promotion, it can come in form of promotion of confidence by demonstration. No, don't bother, it will be okay, You are showing that you can handle it. I can handle it. You see, so these are forms that first aid can take. Then what is the reason for first aid? We're going to look at reasons for first aid. One, there are several reasons for first aid. One, the first reason is to prevent and care for accident, injury, or sudden illness. That is one of the reasons for first aid, to prevent and care for accident or injury or sudden illness. Secondly, for the persons caught up in natural disaster, you can give them first aid. Suddenly, someone's, well, we thank God in this part of the country, we don't usually have this drastic disaster. You know, in some places, you see a house sinking. If your clothes are there, what you can do, oh, no, look at the children. You are willing to help. You bring out the children, you take the children away, at least then you come back, check what else you can do, how to help. These are the reasons why we apply first aid for some persons caught up in natural disaster. Another reason is to equipping individuals to appropriately deal with both victim and injury. This is why we teach first aid. We teach people how to handle first aid at home, at least for you to be at hand to be able to help, and also to equip individuals to be able to know what to do in any form of, or in the face of injury, or in the face of ill health or whatever. So when we teach this, so that you will know what to do at the appropriate time. These are reasons why we teach first aid. We also teach first aid to distinguish between what to do and when to do that. Know what to do and when to do that. We teach you so that you know that, for instance, if hot water falls on any person at home, the lesson you have learned from learning first aid, you apply it. In the first place, you will calm the person. You will know what to do. That means you're supposed to calm the person, not to even shout at the person. Because when you shout at the person can get the solution. The person can lose hope. The person can even enter into shock. That is why we teach you how to handle first aid in case of any injury, in case of accident. So we also teach that for you to know when to apply these skills you have learned at first aid. Another reason is that everyone in the home, everyone at home needs knowledge of first aid, at least to save life. The husband at home needs knowledge of first aid. The children at home need knowledge of first aid. Even the homemaker, the mother, we all need that knowledge of first aid, what to do whenever something happens, and how to do it. So that if the father, assuming the homemaker, the mother is not around, and maybe a child suddenly takes ill, what will he do? Will he start shouting at that? Ah, when your mother was not around, you did not take ill. Now that that I'm at home, is it when you, how will I know what to do? No, you are not supposed to do that. That is why the essence we are teaching first aid and what to do for first aid, what you're not supposed to do, and how you will do what you are supposed to do. Another reason why we teach this first aid is for temporary and permanent disability. So that if you know when something happens, assuming it's an accident, the moment you look at it, you that have had the knowledge of first aid, treatment, you will know whether it's supposed to be a permanent or temporary something, and how to act immediately. Whether you should also call the doctor as you're going to that person. If it is a permanent, if you look at it and it looks like it's going to be a permanent injury, then if it's a temporary one, you know that you have to get nearer, calm the person, and then know what to do immediately. If hot water or oil falls on someone, you know what to do. You're not supposed to just pour water. At least if there's an egg there, you take the egg, pour on the thing first, or you look for salt and rub on the face of the thing. And you that is applying, you make sure if you have gloves, you can put gloves. And as much as possible, you also think of keeping yourself safe when you are applying first aid to someone. Then another reason is for rapid recovery and long hospitalization. There's a way something will happen to someone, and you that have the knowledge of how to apply first aid, you do it immediately. Otherwise, the next 30 minutes or 1 hour can disable the person. But because of that little assistance you have given that time, it can save the person from permanent disability. So that's just the thing. We are still talking about first aid, what first aid is, how to apply it. Want to share our screen. I hope you're seeing my screen very well. First aid.
Yes, ma'am.
Want to look at first aid box. And I want to reiterate here that it's not only box that can be a first aid container. If you have a good basket that has cover, you can even lock and key. And make sure that whatever you call your box, you have look at the content very well. And what are the contents supposed to be? It should be the first aid box or basket or whatever however you arrange your first aid box should be placed in a conspicuous place. Conspicuous means a place that is easily seen, easily accessible. You should place it maybe on top of the fridge at home, but it must be out of the reach of the children. On top of the fridge or in the dining table, on top of a dining table where the children can reach easily go there, or on top of a cupboard at home, wherever that everyone at home will be able to access it, will be able to see it and get it. We want to look at the content box. By the way, first aid box means that container that houses the items for first aid at home. That container that houses, or the box that houses the first aid container at home. The first aid content, the content of the first aid. And the items for the aid box must be, it must include scissors, must include cutting wood, it must include absorbent gauze. Gauze. You know what gauze is? that thing like cotton wool, but it's not cotton wool. It's like, it's long. You can cut it, and it looks like sponge, something like that, but it's not. It is an absorbent gauze that, in case of blood, when you soak it on it, it can absorb the blood. Remember, the scissors is there, the cotton wool is there, the absorbent gauze is there, the bandage of various types is there, bandages, you have the plastics, you have plasters. No plaster is what you, after cleaning the wood, with your gauze with scissors, when you place the gauze, you use this plaster to hold the thing to the body, to the area, so that it will not easily remove. As the plaster. Another content or item found in this box is wound cleaning solutions. Wound cleaning solutions. It can include antiseptic, or Dettol, or iodine, or spirit, and the rest of it. Sometimes you have, that's what we call GD. This one's violet color, have your iodine, have your antiseptic, even soap. You have the Dettol, you have the spirit, and even your TV. Again, the contents or the items you can find in a first aid box can include paracetamol. At least one very common at home. Paracetamol. You have your razor blade. You have the thermometer. You see, you use your thermometer, remember, to check the temperature, the body temperature. You have some thermometer for the children, the one you put in their armpit and read the temperature of the body. You can also keep your sanitizer in your first aid box. You can also use your manometer. You can also, if you have a home where you have someone whose blood pressure is usually high, you try and get a manometer. Use the manometer, there are various sizes in the market today. They are very readily available. You have the one you wear like wristwatch, the manometer. You have the one you can put around the upper arm to check the body pressure of that person. What is my BP like? I want to please check my BP. It's like my BP is high. It's like my BP is low. It's good to monitor your BP at home. And all these things will save life. Remember your thermometer, the children, you will buy the one that is like glass like. You can always put in their armpit to check the body temperature. You also need to have Vaseline, ordinary Vaseline. This one they can sell, you have the one of 100 naira, 50 naira. You keep it in that, your first aid box. So that at any point, if there's any bite, you have what we call aboniki. Yeah, this aboniki, any sort of balm or rub. These things are supposed to be in the first aid box. So that, mommy, something has bitten me here. Hey, something has been, oh, dear, sorry, sweetheart. Sorry, let me see. No, don't worry, we'll go now. You will touch your hand on it, maybe use a little Dettol, clean that place, and rub your hot balm or whatever on it. You'll see that the baby will feel happier. You also need to keep safety pins. Sometimes office pins in your safety box. The contents are very many. It depends on the one you can easily get. but make sure there is paracetamol in your first aid box and some other of these common things. In case you have a child that usually will have headache, after giving paracetamol, remember that first aid box, and you that is applying first aid, you're not a doctor. Our own just to show care before you can take that person eventually to the hospital or to any medical officer. Okay, we need to see, having talked of first aid box and the content, we need to see how first aid can be administered for some accident, how we can administer first aid to some forms of accident at home. Remember that when we talk about accident, it's not a head-blowing thing. Accidents at home can come in little forms. And the earlier we take care of them, the better. It saves lives. It makes us have calm mind and also make us happier at home. There are some forms of accidents, common accidents we talk about at home. Some of them are bites. Like I said earlier, bites can be from animals. Bites by animals. Sometimes you have human bites. Humans can bite. I've seen a situation where a woman was fighting another person. And the next thing, the woman beat the other woman. What do you do then? When someone gets a bite, you must not continue to fight. If the person has sense, you should go and treat the bite immediately because it can be dangerous. And when a child is beaten, it can be dangerous. Some of us keep these domestic animals at home. A dog, for instance, can mistakenly marched on and it bites, can bite any person. And when a dog bites you, the dog may not, you cannot remove the teeth on the dog because it belongs to you. No. If you mistakenly suddenly matched a dog to the extent that it hurts, the dog can bite by mistake. And when that happens, or you can even bite a visitor, when that happens, what do? You won't continue to look at or to observe the dog. No, we must do something. That's why we are teaching about first aid. So we are looking at bites by animals like by animals or by human being or ants or anything. And why do we need to take care of it? So that we can prevent it from escalating to another thing. And that needs to be, we need to look at the affected area to make it look neat so that it won't get into infection, so that it doesn't result to infection. So let's look at them one after the other. Bites by human being can, one can contact any bacteria from the mouth. When one opens mouth, the mouth is full of bacteria. For instance, if someone has eaten this morning, many people don't even remember to, rinse their mouth when they finish eating. No matter how you even rinse it, the moment you close your mouth, there's bound to be small bacteria, microbes. You will see them. There are free radicals there. And when these things, if someone decides to bite another person, those germs, those bacteria can transfer to the body. And when it transfers, what next? It can result to infection. That is why we must clean the surface of the bitten area. We can put salt on the water. You that is going to take care of that person, prevent yourself from also catching infection. You will need to take care of yourself. Either wash your hand with neat water, maybe added with Dettol or any form of disinfectant. Then take care of that person. Wash the surface with neat and neat water with disinfectant. to clean the area, to clean the surface. The same way, if animal bites someone, if any form of animal, snake for instance, bites someone, or a dog bites, there can be transferred. Of animal can transfer to human being, causing serious infection. That is why, or it can even cause tetanus. I've seen occasions where a human being is bitten by a dog or any animal, and before you know it, the person will start barking like that animal. And for us to avoid some of these things, when you take immediate care or give that help, you must take the person to the hospital. You must also either call the doctor or call the medical personnel, or before, or depending on the severity of the thing, you can take the victim to the hospital for them to look at it very well and know, determine the extent. In form of human bites, in case of human bite, remember, you must clean the wound thoroughly with cool, clean water, adding antiseptic or Dettol or whatever. Clean it very, very well, and give serious attention before you take the person to the hospital. If the wound is large, don't wash it at all. Just pour the water, clean water that you have put antiseptic on it, flush the water on it, put a bandage, and call a doctor. That is if the wound is big enough. You know, some wounds can be frightful, can be frightening. So when they happen like that, don't just go near treating. Just flush the antiseptic water on it, flush it very well, make sure you flush it very well, then cover it with the bandage or neat pad, and then send for a doctor. That will take care of that person. We have some forms of animal bite. You can see on our screen, I told you earlier that we shouldn't have only box. When we hear first aid box, it's not only box that we should come to our mind. You can see a small bag there, first aid kit. You can also see the other small one. We also have some women keep hot water bottle. What you're seeing there is the hot water bottle. They save life. And we're saying that for animal bites on the surface of the face or at the neck, these are very delicate places. What you do is to send for the doctor immediately. No matter what kind of, it depends on the kind of bite. It depends on the animal. Call the doctor, send for the doctor immediately. You can also wash the surface of the affected area with soap and disinfectant, and flush it and dress it if you know that it's not much. The wound is not much. Then the victim should avoid movement. The victim should avoid movement. You have to be fast so that we can cover up. Remember what happened the other time? You can see on our screen how an affected victim is being cleaned up, bleeding. If there's heavy bleeding, you know, heavy bleeding may result to shock or loss of consciousness or death if care is not taken. So what you do immediately if someone is bleeding, you must avoid contact with the victim's blood. You don't know, because you know a lot of things go on in the blood. We can place the victim's palm on the open wound. Log me to the other orientation. We can also cover up the wound with thick, clean pad to absorb the blood and to help the blood to clot. Then we raise the injured part of the body. You can see how the hand is being raised up so that it doesn't flow out. The blood doesn't easily flow out. And also so that the heart of the person doesn't get affected. We'll also allow the victim to sit down, to lie down quietly, depending on the part of the body that's affected, and send the person to the doctor. Send the person to the doctor. Next, we are looking at is convulsion. In case a child convulses at home, remember that convulsion is an attack of unconsciousness, usually of a violent onset. It's an occurrence. It can happen at the onset of a child's birth. After some, years, the child is beginning to have severe fever, or in case of gastric intestinal illness. Those things can cause convulsion. Measles, mumps, mumps that swell up children's, down jaw like this. And other forms of child diseases can cause convulsion. When a child convulses, the child loses unconsciousness. And you see the child, sometimes the eyes will turn. And there are some families that this thing is common. So that the moment a mother or a homemaker knows how to do this thing, the area and at ease the family will be. So that even if you're not there, you need to also teach other people at home, so that when you are not there, something happens. Look at the steps. Look at what they are supposed to do. Convulsion can kill if not properly handled. The type of convulsion that develops, that comes up later in one's life, are the most dangerous. And we must take the children to the hospital to ascertain the cause of that convulsion. We must take care of how to handle convulsed children. First, to prevent the victim from hurting self. Secondly, to give artificial respiration. And anytime we are attending to others, please, wearing face mask, nose mask, does not mean that it's only when you're going to wear there is virus. Remember that nose mask, face mask saves life. And don't place object between the teeth, blunt object between the teeth of the convulsed person, because it can make the baby to choke. Do not restrain him, that is, pin him completely to the ground to the extent that he cannot move. Do not pour liquid on the mouth, even though the mouth may be open. Avoid pouring liquid on the mouth. Do not also place the victim on tube. Vanessa, I will soon be with you. I'll soon be with you. We must hurry up because the other people that I'm supposed to take by 11 are already calling. So do not place the victim in a water tube. Bathtub, you don't place the victim there. And if the convulsion persists, please take the baby to the hospital. All this has given us more understanding of first aid. I hope we have been able to get what first aid is, the reasons why we apply first aid, who should apply first aid, the content of first aid, the content of first aid, and the steps involved in treatment of household emergencies. Remember, in teaching first aid, we have been able to see reasons why, what first aid is, the definition of first aid, what first aid is, reasons for applying first aid, contents of first aid box, some basic steps of taking first aid, and treatment of household of some of the emergencies. So this is how we are going to wrap it up today and I hope we have been able to learn some things about first aid. Until Saturday when we meet again, Esther is bye. And make sure you get the other course material so that You can also revise some of these ones you missed, and then also learn more about what we have been teaching. Thank you. See you next time. Okay, Esther, see you.